Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep mysteries. And tonight, you'll notice there is no chapter number because this is a special Interlude 6, something I'm calling Legend Lore, The Lingering Winter. And we'll see what that means in just a few minutes after we do a little bit of a recap. First off, I owe you a couple of domain tomes. We're getting some of those meta subscriptions in there. So let's bump this up. And just remember, so you have full access to domain tomes tonight, okay? But remember, anything you use up tonight, your canon characters won't have access to. And I still have 5 special edition tomes. So,
okay.
I don't know why my chair feels like it's sitting so much higher than normal. My head's like bumping against these icicles. There we go.
Maybe your posture's just improved.
Maybe that's what it is. Anyway, first off, it is super nice to have everybody back around the table again. We are very glad to have you back, Cari. We missed you while you were gone. And last week we welcomed M to the campaign and then said, now you're not going to play your character for a couple weeks while we do something else. So we're going to get going here in just a moment. I think the only real announcement that I have to tell you about is just what we talk about before we play all of our games. It's just a reminder that you matter. Your presence on this earth makes a difference. Whether you believe that or not, it's true. You might be struggling with something, and that's okay. It's okay to not be okay. But we want you to know that there is help that is available for you out there. All you have to do is anytime that you want in our chat that you need to just type !help, and a help message with links will appear in the chat. When you do so, I'm going to do that now. There we go. Findahelpline.com is the main link, and then there's also TakeThis.org's growing list of resources available as well. Bookmark those for yourself, save them for a friend, and remember, you matter. All right, without further ado, I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Yay!
Let's cue up some music here.
I'm like excited. This is like an old friend.
Here we go.
Nice.
Many years ago, in the heart of the Silver Marches, where the river Rovine carves a path from the cold vale north of the dwarven holds of Sundabar, through the Rainbow Gorge between the peaks of Mount Giram and Farang's Doom, on its way to Silvery Moon and the Evermoors, there was a settlement called Jalanthar. Jalanthar was once a riverbank waystop on the ravine between Moon Pass and Everlund, just south of Silvery Moon, where upstream-bound barges hired tow beasts and expert handlers to tow them through the pass. The Jalantharan people made their home in sod-roofed cottages that dotted the south banks of the ravine. The Ravine Vale was a rich, verdant land that flourished every spring when the Witch of Winter relaxed her hold over the Ravine Mountains, and the melting snows merged with the river waters below to bring life and renewal to all who dwelled there. That is, until the year the witch's grasp did not relent, and winter lingered. The Jalantharan people suddenly found themselves unable to till the soil in preparation for planting their crops. The trade barges could not pass through the still frozen waters of the ravine, and the ravine road to Silvery Moon by way of Everlund remained impassable beneath several feet of snow. Winter stores of food and grain were dwindling, and the Jalanthar town elders began to fear for the safety of their people. Hunters and trappers, either too hungry or too desperate, ventured further into the forest in search of food, but recent forays proved futile. One such hunting party themselves became hunted, according to Durath Swiftfoot, the sole survivor. The young halfling hunter told elders Storn Cromarth and Amarthe Sungalard his tale of survival in front of the hearth in the crowing cockatrice, while Barthor Heldruin served warm mugs of Jalanther amber. We had gone deeper into the wood than we knew better to. But we had to, you know. We could find neither sign nor track of any game, small or large. But we were far enough into the forest that I began to fear we would not make it out afore night fell. But that was to be the least of our worries. Durath gripped the mug of amber in both hands and breathed in its warm scent deeply, holding it for a moment while Elder Cromarth and Elder Sungalard patiently waited. He closed his eyes and let out his breath in a prolonged exhale before continuing. Morthon was the first to be killed. He didn't even have a chance to scream before his throat was torn out. Trina and Scarly had scarcely knocked their arrows when they were both pounced upon from behind. Trina was dead, even as she fell to the ground, disappearing below the snow in a shower of her own blood. But Scarly, she screamed, pleading for help as the beast tore at her back. And I was frozen in place, unable to move. I can't even close my eyes without seeing her staring back at me, helpless and dying. Durath's shoulders began to shake as he was overcome with deep, silent sobbing. Elder Sungalard took the mug from his hands and placed it on the table, then placed her hand upon his head, softly stroking his hair and speaking an enchantment in Elvish to calm his emotions. Havai Ninovelie, Anlailie Nirelie, Noaromiel. I will not say, do not weep, for not all tears are evil. The magic gave Duroth peace enough to continue. It was cragcats, down from the Ravine Mountains. There were 3 of them, but they were not alone. There was a woman, but nigh a woman. An apparition of evil she was. Her hair flowed through the air, though no wind stirred through the trees. She wore a mantle of hoarfrost upon her shoulders, and she walked barefoot upon the snow, not sinking in as we had done. Her skin looked translucent and blue, like the ice upon the river, and her eyes shined with a cold, white light. She stood there like some sort of brittle maiden, and she commanded the cragcats. She spoke to them, and they did as she bade, dragging the bodies of Morthan, Trina, and the still screaming Scarly to her. I dropped my bow and ran as fast as I could the whole time, waiting for the slashing pain of a cragcat's claws. But none came. I ran for miles until I found my way back here. Durath stared into the flames of the hearth while old Barthor listened in horror to the halfling's story. Elder Cromath and Elder Sungalard exchanged knowing looks, while Winter lingered outside the tavern throughout the vale. It is now 2/3 of a month since this incident. As many of the folk of Jalanthar as can cram into the cockatrice are there now. Mugs of Jalanthar amber, hot, have been passed around, and the elders, Cromath and Sungalard, have been explaining to you that 20 days ago they hired an individual who came down from the Cold Vale, who was a merchant ranger. They'd been to the region a few times over the years. By his own accounting, he sensed trouble in Jalanthar, and the elders accepted his offer to investigate the troubles. He headed out, following Durath's story of where they went hunting and encountered these crag cats, and he hasn't been seen nor heard from in 20 days. And your town's food supplies are growing smaller and smaller. Hunting is scarce. And already people around the cockatrice are asking, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? What are you all doing? Let's go around the horn here and describe who we see as you're listening to the elders. Whether you're inside the inn and tavern proper, you're listening outside the window, or whatever you may be doing, let's find out who everybody is. Let's start with Gary.
So there's an older man. He has a bald head. He's got a really puffy white head of hair around in a horseshoe pattern, and he has a very white Santa-like beard. He's sitting listening to all of this, and he just says, some things you just can't control. You just need to let it go. He always carries a large sack with him. It's often slung over his shoulder or tied to his hip, and it rattles. And nobody can figure out why, because he refuses to open it for anyone. He always also carries a bag of flour on his belt as well, because he's the town baker.
Dwight.
Ha! Another! You hear this, the slam of a mug onto the bar, as this tall, thick, almost bear-like man kind of just stomps his way to the bar. He's wearing all black leathers with a white wolf pelt cloak slung over his shoulder. His salt and pepper hair and beard are just kind of unkempt and scraggly, flowing around his head and face. As the mead he had just finished is dripping from his beard. And he sits down on a stool at the bar, and he unslings a bow that's taller than he is, and leans it against the bar, and just slowly looks around, the big smile on his face, just taking everything in, completely oblivious to anything that's actually going on.
Cari.
Mm-hmm. You hear from a corner of the room little kids like laughing and like playing, and then you see an adult couple, a male elf and a female human, like kind of quiet them, and sitting with them is an older girl than these. You see there's 6 little kids and then one that looks a little bit older, very thin, very pale, kind of half paying attention to what is presumably her siblings, half looking at her parents, and half kind of looking concerned at the crowd, because for everybody to be gathered, matters must be pretty serious. And then she kind of shakes her head, almost like she's trying to not think about those things, and she looks back at a book that she has. And that's me.
Ricky. You're muted.
The drama.
Zios is he's standing in a corner, and there is a young lady that has just poured out her heart to him, and he looks at her and he looks her dead in her eyes, and he goes, "My dear Teresa, there are things about me that you couldn't understand, things you wouldn't understand, things you shouldn't understand." And he throws the cloak hood over his head again, and he's got like kind of a little bit of mascara around his eyes with like a little heavy eyeliner, and like imagine like a Robert Pattinson look. And he goes and he he has these two rapiers on his side, and he's got a black cloak on with a hood, of course, and he hears the loud and terse the bow hunter over there slamming his mead down with the mead in his face and his beard, and he just kind of shakes his head with disgust, like so unrefined, and kind of just like walks away from the young lady who's crying now despite the horrible situation of the village, and kind of saddles in closer to the person telling the story or the tale.
And M.
As this woman, Teresa, is crying, you see a shadow come in from behind and sit down, hand on his chin, one on the shoulder. He says, "Listen, you don't need him. I have exactly what you need." And he goes into his little satchel that he has, and he brings out this amber bottle with a strange liquid in it. And he shows it to her. "One sip of this, guaranteed you will have any man here that you would ever want. And it can be yours." If she like takes it and maybe she even opens it to go to smell, she's like, "No, don't smell it. It will let out the potency of the magic that's imbued within it. And I have a sale. I do not require gold. I do not require any of your jewelry or trinkets. As you may have heard, my costs are getting much higher. No, this time I simply want a lock of your hair." He smiles.
You would see her
Not really listening to the people talking.
You would see her twisting where her hair sort of spills out from her scarf, almost like she wants to tuck it back in a little bit. I'm gonna have you make a persuasion check at advantage because she's vulnerable.
Good. Oh, okay, that's a 14.
And thus we are establishing that Nilos is the worst of us. As
It was a very low bar after Ricky's presentation.
she very quickly she pulls a knife from her belt and just quickly saws off this piece of hair. She's a little malnourished. It almost, her hair's a little brittle, so it's not too hard to cut, but she hands it to you and kind of very secretively looks around to make sure nobody else will covet the thing you have sold to her. And then you see her giving a look around the crowd as if she's trying to choose whom amongst this crowd would be her best suitor.
Nilos immediately gets up, goes to someone else with this lock of hair, and he gives it to them. I think it's an old elderly woman. And he says, "Here, like I promised, genuine unicorn hair."
Oh my god. Phenomenal.
As Nilos moves over to the other, you hear around this tavern the continued murmurings as the elders Cromath and Sungallard are trying to calm people down a bit. "It's very clear," says Elder Cromath, "that this is a situation that we can no longer rely on others for. We are going to need those of you who are strong and willing to head in and see if you can find something. We made a mistake in allowing this one to go, but we wanted to protect you. Some of you are experienced hunters, trappers. Some of you are strong of heart and will. I hope that you can be compelled to help yourself and your townsfolk. Winter should have relented almost 2 months ago now. It is not a good thing that we find ourselves continuing in this way. Whom amongst you has the fortitude, the willingness to step forth and volunteer?" You see,
here.
I was just gonna say, you see a lot of people turning, like, just refusing to meet their gaze and just looking around to see who's gonna volunteer. Go ahead, Dwight.
And after a couple of beats, you hear a mug slam down. It kind of you hear a sloshing sound, like it wasn't quite empty. So this mug slams back down on the bar top, and Sigi kind of almost leaps off of his stool. "Strong, you say? Well, I do strong very well." And he just lets out this deep guttural belch and marches to the front of the room.
It's met with a couple looks of disgust and a handful of just low laughter.
Zyos steps forward with like a quiet but very presenting forward step, and he's speaking quietly, and as he's speaking his voice gets louder and he goes, "My mask, burning within myself, a burning sensation. I'm trying to live, but I feel the pain of winter's sting. I am here for death of us all." And he steps forward with this crappy emo poem that he kind of just says, and I will rise to the challenge. And he looks over at the Bowstriker, kind of like scoffs, and is quiet, standing like probably about 3 feet away, but the same shoulder to shoulder stance.
That was a lot of noise to say me.
If it burns, you might have a cleric look at it. Just a thought. Anyway, that's my way of saying I'm gonna dice that evil person's carrots.
Amazing. You kind of the camera sees, probably nobody else because she's very quiet, but like you Devyn would look at her siblings who have all at this point fallen asleep because now it's late in the night, but it has seemed like for the last month they'd seem to be falling asleep earlier and earlier and sleeping more and more, and it's because we haven't eaten well in 2 months. And Devyn just sort of slowly closes her book and goes over and stands with Sigi and just like kind of looks up at him and is like, I can go. Can I go with you? Dwight?
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you talking to me?
Yes. I excuse me. Can I please go with you?
Haha, you? Sure, why not? I'll keep an eye on you.
And Devyn would just sort of smile and almost like shrink back and nod to herself and tuck her book almost like protectively into her bag, which isn't very big at all.
Nilos is leaning back, drinking. He leans over to one of the patrons and look at these fools walking to their death, and he begins to laugh. But he looks over he catches the eye of some particular villagers, farmers that he have recently ripped off. And he sees their look, and one of them brandishes a small dagger and goes outside, gives him this ominous look.
Shit. Oh shit.
Exactly. And with that, Nilos jumps up. I will go. I will keep these fools company.
It's very much that, like, they're on the far side of the crowd, they've spotted you, and they're just starting to try to work through the thick of the crowd to get towards you. Let's go. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, as Nilos speaks up, Gumball is going to look at it pointedly, and he's going to say, who's more the fool? The fool or the fool that follows him?
I was never really good at math.
It's more a philosophy problem, really. Less of a math problem. I think what you have is a school problem because you don't know the difference.
As
potatoes, he says.
As you're having this banter back and forth, I'm gonna say, Nilos, you are most likely closest to the door, knowing that it's necessary to have a quick escape whenever you can. So you're, of this particular group, you're one of the first to hear this. Though it does carry in through the windows and through the door. There's a handful, well, more than a handful. There's a couple dozen people that are crowded around the windows and outside the open door that were listening in. When you all hear this sound of... It sounds like a person screaming in distress.
Sorry, I missed that. Can you do that again?
No. My wife's already...
No.
My door is open and Chris is watching a movie in the other room. That's why it was more muted than I wanted it, but... somebody clip it and then you can replay the clip. So yeah, you hear, and then you hear a second person. It sounds a little deeper, but this screaming, screeching sound coming from outside, and immediately people start outside the doors. Nilos, you see are looking around. What's going on? What is that? What do you all do?
Zyos looks around the group and is going to say, all around, the angels gather. My dread grows as the doom scythe falls against my naked soul.
Is he writing this down? Tell me he's writing this down.
That's all he says as he grips his sword blades.
Gumball is going to look at Zyos and he's gonna say, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but I am curious who hurt you.
And Zios just looks back at Gumball and he goes,
The bread bakes itself when the sea of my heart is warm, and the fire of my soul is a cucumber.
and Zios thinks to himself, that's a little upbeat, but he likes it deep down inside.
I would like at least Sigi and Zios to make nature checks. Anybody who is trained in nature may also make that check.
Oh, we
I'm
need
not gonna
dice
see
for this
anything.
game.
Yeah, dice
That's
would be
right.
nice. I know you've been out for a
sorry.
few weeks, but
I'm out of practice.
That's a 15.
I got a
15 for
14.
me.
Gumball Johnson, 21.
Sigi and Gumball Johnson, you recognize this scream, that there's something bestial in it. You know that the crag cats, when they scream out before an attack, their scream or the sound they make sounds like a human or humanoid screaming out in distress. And you also know that it is incredibly unusual that they would come down out of the mountains, let alone out of the forest, into a civilized area. Nilos, you suddenly hear a commotion as people start jamming toward the door, and you hear another one of these screams outside. And Nilos, as you look, you see a blur of white and a person, probably a 20-something farmer's eldest son, towards the back, turn, and suddenly there's just this blur of white and a spray of red across the snow as something attacks. I would like you all to roll for initiative.
Wow, that was fast.
Oh,
I think that's a new record.
And then let's see. Whoops, why? Hold on. For some reason, is doing this wrong. Change. It's only recording that there's 2 of you in the party.
Oh.
Give me a second here.
As
While
long
Jake
as
is
one of them
figuring
is
that out.
Gumball Johnson.
Gary, I keep forgetting. What's your name again? What's your character's name?
Gumball Johnson.
Awesome.
All right, hold on.
Thanks.
I'm going to adjust this
While
real
Jake
quick.
is figuring that out, everybody check out the awesome new overlay he made today. It looks great.
Manage
I really like the
character.
theme.
Yes, I too like the theme.
I
Okay.
agree.
I apologize. I tried to preset a bunch of this, and for whatever reason, it did not save properly.
Well, Jake, I think that makes you a bad person.
It does. It does.
Probably.
I recognize that.
The worst.
There we go. There we go. All right, Devyn, what do you got?
14.
Oh, I realize now that you all put them in chat like good little role players.
All of us except for Ricky. Mr. Norman, Ricky didn't put it in.
Well,
Never.
sometimes people do things differently, Cari, and we don't admonish them for their different ways.
That's okay. I can handle it.
That doesn't sound like something Gumball Johnson would do.
What'd you get, Ricky?
15.
I like that even though you were bullying him for it, he didn't relent and put it in the chat.
No. Nope, he owned it. 100%.
17.
F you guys.
Oops, 17. And I've got... Okay. Gumball Johnson and Sigi, you both have a 21. So as this commotion happens, you hear the screaming that you recognize as crag cats. and you hear actual human screaming coming from outside the tavern. What would you like to do? Keep in mind your movement while you are inside the tavern, since you both established you are in there, is at difficult terrain because of the crowd. Unless you can find a convincing way to mitigate that.
Well, Gumball Johnson is going to acrobatically hop up on the bar, and he is going to walk across the bar to evade the gathered crowd so that he can get out quickly.
Okay. So you jump up on the bar, you go moving across the bar, and you drop down near the door.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still a press of people, but you saved plenty of movement by using the bar, and you're able to make your way outside.
And he's going to look back at Sigi, and he's going to say, "That's how you do it, whippersnapper!" And he's going to sort of loosen the sack at his that's tied to his side around the belt. Does he see the crag cat outside?
You can see a crag cat. This thing, they look like large-sized, all white. Basically, they kind of look like a super muscular, all white Maine Coon cat. Lots of fur. And this one has currently just ripped the throat out of this farmer. So there's plenty of blood on its muzzle. You can see it clearly.
So Gumball is going to reach into his sack. He's sort of like spinning things around. There's like clanking like pots and pans, and there's like a bell. And he's going to reach out. He's going to pull out something. He's going to reach into his sack and pull out a bucket. And he's going to run toward the crag cat and try and slam the bucket over its head.
Ooh, awesome.
This is a standard bucket?
Yeah, it's a bucket, yeah.
Okay. This is a
It's a
large
+1 magic
creature.
bucket.
Yeah, I mean, it does. This is all role play, Jake. I'm just.
I know. I'm just making sure that I give
I'm
you all the information. Make an attack roll.
All right, thank you. That is a 14 to hit.
That is a hit.
Right. So the bucket crashes down on the head of this crag cat, splintering everywhere. And as it does, he's going to say, "You've never met Gumball Johnson." And it does 9 points of damage. And I am going to use my bonus action to attempt to grapple it.
Okay. You can certainly do that.
I didn't roll very well, though. I only got 11 on the grapple.
You got a dirty 20.
That is more than 11. So he reaches for he tries to control the crag cat with this bucket over its head. He's trying to wrestle it to the ground, but he can't manage to do it. And he's going to say, "You may have won this round, crag cat, but you're the dummy with the bucket on its head." That'll be the end of my turn.
Siggy.
So Sigi looks up where Gumball has just looked over his shoulder at Sigi, and he's dashed out of the room. Ha, Gobstopper, I like the cut of your jib. Let me show you how I do it. Everybody move. And he just doesn't even wait. He's just going to full barrel.
Make an intimidation check.
Amazing.
That is a dirty 20.
Everybody moves.
And I just do this kind of like, you know how like an offense or like offensive lineman or somebody really big, and I know you don't, but somebody really big and strong kind of runs that kind of like half like a refrigerator with arms and legs run. And it's real loud and clunky, but as he's going through, he pulls this massive bow off of his shoulder with an arrow knocked and ready as he barrels through the door. And how many of these cats are there again?
You just see the one that
Just the one?
Gumball's dealing with.
Then I am going to cast Hunter's Mark upon it. as a bonus action. And then I am going to shoot at it. I'm just probably stop right outside the door and shoot at it with my longbow.
There's a couple of people that were crowding trying to get inside. As soon as they hear that stretching of the bowstring, they immediately duck down. Take your shot.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna go ahead and re-roll that, if you would, please.
Nice.
Re-roll.
And I went from an 11 to a 13. So.
Oh.
13 is a hit.
All right.
Nice.
2.
Just the field.
4. That's going to be 8 points of piercing damage.
All right, you slam your arrow into this thing right where Gumball tried to grapple it, and it sort of pushed him away with his paws. And as he does so, that's when your arrow just kind of right into its shoulder. Nilos.
So narratively, I think that Nilos doesn't necessarily walk out, but kind of gets pushed out, being close to the door, just kind of gets mosh pitted like out of the group. And he finds himself standing right in front of this cat, and he swears under his breath, takes out his short swords that he has on him, and is going to attack this thing before it eats him.
All right.
So because Gumball is close, he gets his sneak attack. Yeah. It's been so long since I've played a rogue. It's a 15 to hit.
That is a hit.
4, 9, 10, 11 points of damage. And then with his bonus action, he's going to do his offhand attack, which is a 16 to hit.
Yep, that is a hit.
For 4 points of damage.
You did do sneak attack on that first one?
On the first one, yep.
Okay. So yeah, but so far between all of you, you've really put a hurting on this crag cat. Zios.
Zios calmly walks outside, following the group, and he says aloud, "All of the teeth and claws that you have revealed are no match for the 2 swords that I wield." And he pulls out both of his rapiers and is going to stab at the kitty cat.
Go on his headstone. That's amazing.
First one is a 18 to hit.
That is a hit.
Oh, it only does 5 points of damage.
Okay.
And the second one is a 11. Does it hit?
Does not. So everybody so far is either attacking from range, or at this point there's now 3 people that have rushed in to gather around this. The snow is turning crimson with this crag cat's blood, and it is loudly protesting, sounding like a screaming person as it snarls at you. Devyn.
Amazing. Okay, so I have a question. Does this place where we are all gathering, is it multiple floors or is it just one floor?
I would say that this is probably one of the only 2-story buildings because it is also an inn.
Sick. I want to run as fast as I can up to one of the rooms and like shoot down because I probably can't hit one of these things through these new buddies of mine.
Yeah.
Can I get there and shoot, you think?
That is fantastic. You can absolutely turn while everybody's heading out the door. You turn and run upstairs, run the short distance down the hall, crashing through the door, and seeing a window there. You can have a view down, very clearly see the crag cat. Make me a perception check while you're up there.
Perception check is a 3. Devyn's pretty nervous right now. And she's feeling pretty bad the entire way up. The few people that she had to shove out of the way. She's like, sorry. And then she gets all the way up there and then wants to take a shot at the crag cat.
Go for it.
Here I go. It's a 10. That blows.
As you shoot... Excuse me. As you shoot... You were
laughing at me for a second.
No. Sigi. On the ground near your feet, an arrow shoots from above, missing the cat and also missing you.
And you hear from above, sorry! And that's my turn. Dun, 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 dun.
It's okay, little one. Just watch what I do. You'll learn.
Amazing.
The crag cat screams out, and there are 3 of you in front of it. It's Sigi. Everything's coming up Sigi. It is going to lash at you with its teeth, attempting to bite you with only a 2 on the die. That's a 7 as you hear these teeth slam shut in front of you. But the bite was just a distraction because it was attempting to swipe at you with its claw. God, these stupid dice. But it's so wounded that it strikes out and sort of loses its balance. 9's not going to hit you. Gumball Johnson, from one of the buildings nearby, you feel and sort of out of the corner of your eye see as the snow sort of suddenly falls from the roof, but you realize that snow is leaping towards you as another crag cat concealed on the roof of the building launches at you. I need you to make a strength saving throw.
Come on, Johnson.
Strength saving throw, you say.
Amazing.
22.
It slams into you and you sort of push it aside. You are not knocked prone. That is going to be a 21 to hit you with its claw swipe.
It's definitely a miss. No, of course it's a hit, Jake.
I'm just rolling my damage dice. I'm not believing you. You're going to take 4 points of slashing damage. Because I have your ACs right here. And that's going to be a dirty 20 as it bites at you. And you'll take another 7 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
The third crag cat launches itself from between 2 buildings. And this one is going for Nilos. As it comes charging at you, I need you also to make a strength saving throw.
Oh, I'm so good at strength.
Most rogues are, right?
I rolled a 16 for a total of 15.
Somehow, you do not get knocked down as this thing comes sliding forward, almost sliding on the snow, and it sort of skitters into a stop, and it takes a swipe at you for 15 to hit.
Yes.
And it's going to do 11 points of slashing damage. And then it bites you for an 18 to hit. And that is going to be 5 points of piercing damage.
Awesome.
Oh, I just looked at what your HP is. There are now a total of 3 crag cats on the battlefield. Gumball. That's crag cats roaring, if you can hear that.
Okay, Gumball.
If you can't hear it, ignore me.
Okay, Gumball. Gumball is going to reach into his sack. And he's going to like rifle around in there for something. And he's going to pull out a cowboy hat. And he's going to slap the crag cat in the face with the stiffened cowboy hat. And he's going to use a superiority die to try and improve the roll. And he fails. He swings the cowboy hat at the crag cat, and it just fans it a little bit. He's like, "Ha ha! Trying to cold you to death, crag cat. That is a trick of Gumball Johnson." And he's gonna throw away the ineffective cowboy hat and be irritated.
I realized that I made a mistake.
No,
It
dear
was
God.
not Gumball, or sorry, it was not Sigi that was being attacked. It was Zio. Sigi, you're not at the crag cat, so you couldn't have been attacked by it. Zios is the one that ran up on it. So neither of them hit, so there's no damage retcons, but just as I'm realizing that you're not near it and it's your turn.
Okay. So then scratch what I was gonna do. And I will just continue. I draw my bow back, and I just take an extra second to take a deep breath as I aim this crag cat next to Zios. And I just kind of whisper, "You're mine now." And I'm going to use my Slayer's Prey feature. So this is now my designated creature, and it adds an extra 1d6 damage on top of the hunter's mark. And I'm going to let loose with my longbow. That is a nat fucking 20.
Whoa!
There you go. Let's
Nice.
So that's going to be 18 plus 30 points to start with.
To start with.
Yes.
Well, because I get, so 2d8 plus 2 plus a d6 for Hunter's Mark and a d6 for Slayer's Prey. And 12. It's 19. Yeah. What did I say to begin with?
30.
30. So that's going to be 49 points of piercing damage.
You
What-
are level 3.
What does it look like when you kill this crag cat?
So Zios is standing there having just dodged these attacks, and he hears just this as
We
an
heard
arrow.
nothing.
Okay,
Whatever you
so-
did, your mic killed.
I heard a puff.
I
of
heard
the mic.
a little pop of the mic, and that was it. So I don't know what sound you were trying
So
to
he,
make.
he just hears this rushing of air and this wet splorch as this arrow sinks into the eye socket of this crag cat, and just gore erupts from his head cavity, and it's now covering Zios. He's just covered in blood, which probably makes him a little bit happy on the inside as this crag cat collapses in front of him. You're welcome. Ha ha.
Nilos.
Nilos is fighting this crag cat that's now upon him, that is done just a scratch of damage to him. And just damn, you're ugly, as he just tries to fight him.
What weapon are you
Domain dice
attacking
works-
with?
A short sword.
Okay.
Domain dice works differently, right? It costs
Yeah,
more?
so in here, domain tomes are 1 to gain advantage, 3 to reroll, or 5 to make me reroll. So you
Okay.
can reroll that. You can basically reroll it for 3.
Do it.
I'm gonna re-roll it.
Okay.
Yay!
Because he's gonna die if he doesn't kill this thing really soon. That's a 15 to hit.
What was the new roll?
15?
That's a hit.
Yay!
And then, is anyone else near him? I know he was close to Gumball.
You've
but I
got
don't know
Silos
if he's
and
away.
Gumball near you.
Perfect.
Relatively
Great.
speaking, yeah.
That'll be 9 plus 7, so 16. And then the bonus, he's going to do a bonus action. Offhand, which is an 11. That's it.
And 11 was the to hit.
The offhand, yep.
Yeah, that will be a miss.
Okay.
You're telling me to hit and damage numbers while I'm trying to modify the numbers for the domain tomes, and everything was jumbling in my head. Okay.
Numbers.
Whoops. I need to... Zyos, the one you were fighting is now dead, and you are covered in its blood, thanks to Sigi's arrow. But there are 2 more crag cats that are on the battlefield.
Zyos is... which one is closer as he's looking?
Whichever one you want. There's the one that's been hit by Nilos, and there's one that has not yet been hit. That one tried to knock Gumball to the ground and failed.
Okay. Zyos is going to shoulder roll over in front of Nilos, or beside Nilos. Is Nilos down or is Nilos up?
Nilos is up.
Okay.
It looks
all
very bad. Yep.
right. Okay. All right.
Up but
I wasn't
bad.
sure. Because you took some damage. Okay. So Zyos is going to shoulder roll and stand next to Nilos and take a stab at the ridiculous, wild, feral cat in front of him. First one is 13. Does that hit?
It does hit.
Ten points of piercing damage.
Wow.
And then he's gonna stab with the other rapier. A 10's not gonna hit, is it?
Nope.
Man, that offhand Zyos has. He needs to train more with his offhand. Yeah.
Devyn, you got your choice of targets of 2 other crag cats that are sort of in the midst of this area that is looking almost like a bullseye with this spray of blood in the middle, and
Yeah.
everything else relatively white except for blood leaking from a couple of these fellow townsfolk.
Yep. And so what I'm gonna kind of see that like Sigi and Gumball and Zeos, they sort of have looks like they have it well in hand, and Nilos does not. So I'm gonna aim for the one that is closest to him, and I'm gonna try to hit it with my bow. Here I go. Fingers crossed for a better roll. That is a 14 to hit.
That is a hit.
Yay! Okay, now you guys are gonna have to help me because I don't play Rangers ever. I have Colossus Slayer, So if I hit, I get to do another D8 of damage, correct? It says you get one once per turn. If the creature is below its HP
Yep.
maximum, you get an extra 1d8
Yes,
of
that
damage,
is correct.
right? Okay.
Yep.
Amazing. That's awesome. Okay, so that's 11 points of damage on the one that is closest to Nilos.
All right.
And Devyn is very excited about this. You hear like at first really loud, "I got it," and then to herself more like, "I got it." Like just very pleased.
Great shot, kid. Don't get cocky.
The first crag cat is dead. It will continue to be dead for its turn. The one on Nilos has an arrow in it and some puncture wounds. It is going to actually, both of the crag cats are going to turn tail and run. Zios, Gumball, and Nilos, you get opportunity attacks.
Yeah. In what order? Or just roll?
Yeah, each of you get a free opportunity attack. Or, well, you use your reaction. You don't get it for free, but... so if you want to, yeah.
Ooh, a nat 20 on my...
Nice.
Nice. Alright,
On a 13.
that's a hit.
Gumball reaches into his sack and pulls out a candy cane and stabs it into the crag cat as it runs away, doing 9 points of damage.
Nilos did 8 points.
Wow.
Alright.
Wow.
I don't know how that net 20 breaks down.
So you take your maximum damage of whatever your die plus your modifier would be.
Okay, so that's going to be...
Actually, do this, because I know you're using your character sheet. What's the damage die in your rapier? 1d8?
One of them says 1d8, another one says 2d8. I'm not sure why one says 2d8. That wasn't a roll. I was just seeing what was that is. Wait, okay, wait. Okay, so wait a minute. When I rolled the nat 20, it automatically made that one 2d8.
Oh, yeah, because
on D&D Beyond.
Yeah, don't use D&D Beyond for the damage.
Okay.
Okay. So you can just roll. Just click the damage die. You get 1d8. So go ahead and roll your damage, and then add 8 to whatever you get with your rolling the.
That's gonna be 13.
Okay, and between Nilos and Zios, how do you kill the second crag cat?
Go first, Nilos. I'll follow.
Okay. Nilos. I think he's standing and he is bleeding quite profusely, and he goes to take a step, but the blood on the snow has frozen, making it quite slippery. And so he goes to take a step after this, like kind of backing from this cat, but then he slips, falls, and accidentally short swords this cat.
After which, Zios, you do a crit.
So Zios feels, as he takes the opportunity stab at the cat, he feels his rapier cut through the hind leg of the beast and into its femoral artery, and he feels like that little squirt of, he can feel with his blade the pressure of blood just erupt inside of the cat, falls down, and he says, "Without meaning that breathe flight, without purpose that dead light." And he pulls out his blade, and the blood kind of flicks, and he kind of whips the blood out in the white snow.
And the crag cat attempts to take a couple hesitant steps, and then it drops to the ground, dead. But the third cat dashes away through the streets, heading northward towards the woods and disappearing into the trees, but leaving behind it a clear trail of dripping blood where Gumball Johnson stabbed it with a candy cane. And with those ridiculous words, we're going to take our break. All right, we're going to take about a 10-minute break, and we will see you back here after the break. And we're back. In the aftermath of the attack of the Crag Cats, you saw that the one Crag Cat got away, leaving a trail of footprints and blood in the snow. 2 of the Crag Cats lie dead, as do at least the one townsfolk, the farmer that you saw get killed. And reports are starting to pass through the crowd that before you heard them, a couple of people may have been dragged off by other Crag Cats. In the aftermath of this, you are tended to by the elders. I will allow you, in the nature of a short rest, to use hit dice to heal yourself. The healing that they are tending to you is non-magical healing. They're more addressing your wounds and giving you the benefits of a short rest, as it were.
Nilos.
Go ahead.
I was going to say Nilos is wasting no time as he is, after he has recovered, to collect the fur, maybe a toe of the Crag Cats, anything that might look sellable.
Wow.
Somebody comes up beside you just after you've harvested a couple pieces of fur, and actually make a sleight of hand check.
17.
The town butcher comes up, and he's already tying his apron around his waist, and you can see he's got cleavers tucked in, and he looks down at you as you have some of the fur in your hand and you've cut off one of its toes. You can see that he sees that you've taken this stuff, and he just looks at you and he says, he holds out a hand to help you stand up. That was quick thinking, getting out here and dealing with this thing. You and the others made quick work of it. And if you don't mind, I'll finish. There's a lot of meat and bones here. He does not acknowledge what you did.
Yeah, he says, yeah, I'm a regular hero.
Right. Well, if the hero would kindly step back so I can get to work. And he's barking orders at what looks like probably about a 15-year-old teen girl who also has tied an apron around her and is heading over towards the other downed Crag Cat. And they're quickly starting to field dress these and looking at... These are large cats. There's a lot of meat here. The elders come out and address all of you. That was incredibly brave and quick thinking. If what Duras said is true, then these may be under the control of some other force. And if one got away, it might lead you to them. You should make haste.
Sorry. Are you suggesting that we follow the blood trail of the crag cat that fled, and he's gonna look the blood trail all the way through the snow and back up the mountain.
It doesn't go. It doesn't
that
go
what
up the
you're saying?
mountain. It doesn't go up the
Wherever
mountain. It goes into the
wherever
forest.
it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's literally what I just said.
Yeah, we turned it off. Can we have-
Great suggestion. Nobody would have thought of that. Glad you're the town elders. With leaders like this town will grow by a population of -5 in the very near future.
I am already at the edge of the area where this fight took place, just kind of eyeing this this trail, trying to get a feel for where this might have gone. Just kind of waiting for the talking to stop so we can get going.
Devyn is over with her family again, and for a minute you see like all of her little sisters like jumping excitedly, and she's kind of retelling the story about how she got the one arrow off. And then the mood kind of suddenly shifts, and her parents are like, her dad gives her a kiss on the forehead. Her mom, who is crying now, does the same. And she kind of just like seems to like take a breath, and then she goes out and she stands specifically close to Sigi.
Sorry, I missed it because I was dealing with children.
Everybody's getting ready.
Okay. All right, cool. Zeos is going to go over to Sigi and extend a hand that's, wrapped in leather bracers, and he says, overwhelm me from above with arrows of boundless love. And he reaches out, and that's in reference to the arrows that he shot down upon the ferocious cat.
The butcher looks over at Nilos, standing there, and just says, "It looks like the other heroes are gathering to track that beast. You don't want to get left behind, do you?"
Oh, that would be the worst thing in the world. I can't imagine anything that I would rather do than waltz with these fine folk. As he's like taking a vial and he's like putting some of the snow with the blood into the vial and like trying to melt it so that it these vials of blood, and he puts these in his pocket. And
Nilos, you hear behind you. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You hear behind you, coming from somewhere just inside the tavern. What in the bloody hells of the gods? This is fermented goat's milk. It's the woman that you sold the love potion to. Where is that merchant?
Oh, well, do you hear that? Heroism calls. I hear the trumpets in the mountains, he says as he runs up. He runs up, and I think he puts an arm around Gumball as he is hurrying along. You seem like a hero, and not wanting to kill me.
Yes, I am a hero. A leader of people. Gumball Johnson.
Yes, that's all very wonderful. Can we get moving? Heroing. I can't wait.
Yes. He's going to reach into his sack, and he's going to rifle around there. There's twinkling. Sounds like a twig is snapping, and he's going to pull out what looks to be a overdone pot roast, and he's going to say, "All right, now I'm ready," and he's going to walk forward.
As they begin to walk forward, Teresa bursts out of the tavern, and Zeos kind of like stands in front of her, and he goes, "Ah, the smell of my desire upon hot bread, the fire." And he holds her hand and says, "I'll return to thee once summer brings, the winter springs, and something that's ridiculous. And like, she like has that goat's milk, and for a moment, Teresa thinks like the goat's milk's actually working. And then he turns towards the group and walks, away.
Either that or that look is just her trying to figure out what in the hell did he just say?
Yeah, right.
Did he just say that's what butters my bread?
basically.
All right.
And it does.
Charisma 16, that's what I get.
Quick, Cari's being attacked by a crag cat.
Craig cat. Alright, goodbye. So bad.
I looked up and I realized your cat was off screen, was not showing up on the stream. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, you are following after this trail into the woods, and before too long, the trail itself of blood starts to thin out. I'm going to need our trackers to make some survival checks to see how well you can track. And this is a forest, so if there's with these rangers here, if you have forest as a favored terrain.
I put mountains because there was mountain in your frickin' preamble. I got a 17.
That's what you get for trying to min-max your
Metagame.
character.
Yeah.
That's all right. I min-max with some forest because I know how Jake thinks. And it's a dirty 20.
You think you know how I think.
So you would see Devyn like really watching Sigi and trying to like imitate and like, but essentially she's just following along.
I think that like as I'm looking, I'm like noticing Devyn's trying real hard to track, and I'm kind of trying to point things out too.
Mm-hmm. This is adorable. I love it. Okay, yes.
You, with that roll, you're definitely able to keep up the track. Any of you can make a not any of you actually. Any of you that's from this area specifically and would have ventured into some of the external areas, I'll leave that up to you, Nilos, if you are somebody that ventures out into the surrounding area, to make a history check.
Oh god. 14.
16.
16 for Gumball Johnson.
All right, are you rolling history there, Zeos?
Or muted, friend.
Yeah, no, Zeos is not rolling history.
Okay.
It's -1 on history.
So the three of you that did roll, you know that the bulk of the Gilantheran people stay in and around Gilanthar proper. But there are a handful of people that live remotely out in the woods. There's mentioned that a couple people, at least one old hermit that keeps sheep in the right at the base of the mountains in the grasslands in the warmer weather. So it's not at all uncommon that there could be people living out in this area. But you're not seeing any signs of anything other than this crag cat that you're tracking and a few signs of small game in the area. Very few signs, a lot less than you would expect. As you're traveling along, you begin to notice that it is very still in this forest. The only sound you're hearing is the occasional creaking and cracking of the trees that comes with the extreme cold. And it is extremely cold. Your breath is coming out thicker in clouds of condensation as you walk along. The snow has taken on that property of heavy crunching of extreme cold, and I would like you all to make Constitution saving throws.
Ugh. 6.
19.
Okay.
18.
15.
This makes sense.
Nilos?
12.
Nilos and Devyn. The cold is starting to numb your fingers and seep into your joints, and you each take a point of exhaustion.
Zio says, with each breath we take, one step closer to death we make.
God.
With each dough we knead, we get closer to bread we feed. Hashtag bad poetry.
As you are bantering and talking, the thick blankets of snow, plus the snow that's on the branches of the trees, and just the coldness of the air, your words seem to almost just die as they fall from your mouth. They barely carry anywhere. The snow seeming to absorb them right away. Everybody roll me perception.
Hmm. 16.
11.
15.
1.
9.
Devyn, as you are all following Sigi, who is tracking this crag cat, and you hear a little bit of the banter between Gumball and Zios, and you hear the crunching of your footsteps. You hear Sigi's carefully measured steps as he's tracking this cat. You hear just each of you, the individual steps that each person is making. Imagine Nilos having that sort of almost like a not a rhythm, like stepping quickly at times and then slowing down, a lot of stutter stepping as you're turning and looking around. But you're picking out each person's steps and that crunch. And you notice that in between the crunching of your steps, you can hear a sixth set of footsteps that seems to be moving nearby but unseen, in time with all of your steps. What do you do? That's you, Devyn, that noticed that.
Oh, I noticed it. I apologize. I thought Sigi noticed it.
Nope, you were the one that had the highest perception.
Okay. Then in that case, I would kind of like, I would sort of call up to everybody and be like, excuse me, everybody, companions, hold on, everybody stop. And that's about as like assertive as Devyn would be, and whether or not they hear her or pay attention is, I suppose, up to them. And if they do stop, she would say, I hear something. Somebody else. I think we're being followed.
Zeos would definitely stop, and I'm assuming you're close to Sigi, right?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gumball, you hear anything? You see anything?
Anybody that wants to make an investigation or a perception check again with this new information may do so as you all sort of come to a stop.
Nilos is too busy with his hands jammed up his armpits trying to stay warm to he notices nothing. He's just grumbling.
Is this perception or investigation?
13 for Gumball.
It's whatever you want it to be, perception or investigation.
That's a 9. Same thing.
13 for Gumball. What do you got, Devyn?
I heard it already. Do I need to make another?
Yeah, this is a different check.
Oh, okay. Not good. 3.
Okay. And wait a second here. What did I say? Investigation or perception? I'm rolling for Dwight, who had to step away. Okay. None of you seem to... Actually, I take that back. All of you, actually.
Awesome.
So I rolled a 7 perception for Sigi. But anybody that got higher than a 6... and Nilos, you weren't making the check.
He did. He got a 6.
Okay. Well, then you would actually hear it too. As you all come to a stop, you hear 2 additional steps of crunching snow. And Gumball, you hear from not very far away, you hear...
Gumball is going to say, I'm going to cream your corn. And he's going to reach out to punch the thing that made the sound with the roast ham or the overcooked roast beef.
You don't actually see anything. You just hear that
just
sound coming from nearby. You're just
Oh.
going to take a wild swing?
Well, no, I just thought I was amazing and knew what was happening. But I do not.
No, you hear something nearby. You definitely hear that growling and whatnot, but you don't quite know for sure where it's coming from. But you know there is something else here in the woods with you.
Something else is in the woods with us.
Devyn takes her bow out immediately.
I know it to be true. Where? When? How? Why? Those are questions I cannot answer. I cannot answer who, either, or what. I would be bad at this game were it a quiz show. However, it is not, and I am Gumball Johnson.
I'm over Gumball's monologue. I'm trying desperately to hear more about like where specifically this thing is. I can hear the growling, but I can't pinpoint where.
As Gumball is making all this noise, you can make an investigation or perception check to attempt to hear any other signs.
That's a 14.
You don't hear Gumball as he's talking. You sort of hear the sounds of the crunching snow, but Gumball's talking is muffling it enough that you can't hear where it's going. Something is moving around just out of it's like if you're looking this way, you hear something over here and you turn and there's nothing there.
Wow.
What you do see is snow fall from a branch as if something jostled the tree, and then snow fall from a branch as something jostled the tree over here. And there is a I would like to know, because I can't readily see it, what is everybody's passive perception?
11.
9.
15.
Sigi's a 12. What's your passive, Zios?
Where would I find that? Oh, passive perception is 12.
12. Okay, I'm going to have you all roll for initiative.
Amazing.
And this thing is going to get a free round because it rolled a 20, a 19 rather, on its stealth. So I'm going to roll for Sigi here. Oh, geez, that rolled. Oh, that was a nat 1.
Wow.
There you go.
And some kind of monster just appeared from the die. So Zios, Nilos, and Sigi are already in the tracker. Devyn,
I 8.
Gumball,
12.
and I'm gonna roll for my dude. Oh boy, we might be ending early.
Oh Jesus.
So it gets a surprise. It gets surprise on all of you because nobody detected where it was. I'm going to roll randomly to see who it's coming after as something comes rushing in at you, Gumball, just as you finish saying your own name.
You attracted it.
And there is a there is a slash of claws that actually misses you. Something in a blur rushes past you, and the bark is just scraped away from the tree in this moment. But a second attack is going to go for Gumball again. As it's the same dang thing. Nope, that's not the same dang thing. Does a 14 hit you? What's your AC?
Does not hit me.
No, it does not.
Wow.
So out of frustration, the creature, let's see what comes up. This is not you. This is Sigi. I hate to kill Dwight when he's not here.
I love to kill Dwight when he's not here.
As suddenly there's a tremendous bellow and a roar, and you see a very large blue-skinned creature with bulbous nose and beady eyes, pointy ears, massive overbite, teeth sticking up, elongated arms, a little bit of fur down its back and shoulders, skin like the dead. But what you are seeing is an ice troll. As it bites at Sigi. Whoops, that is a D6. That's not a D20.
Ooh.
That is going to be a... And this is its surprise round, y'all. Sigi's... That hits Sigi's AC because that's a 13. So he takes... As this thing bites into him, he takes 10 points of piercing damage, and he takes 7 points of cold damage as the troll slams into him. So he's taken 17 total points of damage, and Sigi is bleeding profusely. Nilos, the creature whirls around on you, and that is a 17 to hit. Oops, wrong die. That is... Ignore that. That is 12 points of slashing damage.
Oh.
And what is your max AC?
14.
How much?
14.
No, sorry, not AC. HP.
18?
Are you at full health?
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Well, right. You took 12. You took 12
No.
points of slashing. You
Yeah.
take another 14 points of cold damage, which I believe puts you at exactly negative 18, right?
Yeah.
Say goodnight.
How does Nilos die?
That was so fast.
I
That's
will
a
let
new
you.
record.
And this is just its
Welcome
first.
to the game, Em.
How does Nilos die? You have narrative control as you are slashed by an ice troll.
Nilos is getting ready. He's getting no. Okay. Nilos, where we left off, he had his arms shoved up like this, just like trying to warm himself up. I think he's trying to run away. He's like backing. Whoops. He's trying to back away. And he turns to run.
Oh,
This
yeah.
isn't worth it. This isn't worth it. As he turns his back towards the troll and gets slashed across the back, and he falls into the snow and does not get up.
It's not just a slashing. You all see that, like, you can see the white of bone. You can see his spine. And
Oh my god.
you also see the
my
wound.
God!
You see the wound instantly freezing around where the troll got him. And you are dead.
Wow, I'm super glad you had that prepared,
Oh, I always have those prepared.
just in case.
So that was its first of its attacks on its true round. Its second attack is going to be against Gumball. This is also a claw attack.
Oh my god.
That is a 26 to hit Gumball.
Okay.
That is 15 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
Followed by 13 points of cold damage.
Okay.
So a total of 28 points of damage. Gumball, you're still up. As where you get slashed, just raked with these massive claws, the wounds instantly start to freeze bite, the blood freezing as well, and causing immense pain.
Okay.
And its last attack is against Sigi, is a bite. That is going to
We're
be
glad it evenly distributed.
okay. That is a critical fail against Sigismund. As he goes in, I think Sigi's going to get a chance to just very quickly take advantage of its close proximity. And it's a one shot, so I'm going to allow him, since he had his bow at the ready, to use his bow anyway. And that would be a roll. That would be a... That was the wrong number. Ugh. That is a 17 to hit, which is... That's enough. No. Okay, so he does 6 points of damage to the ice troll.
Wow.
And Gumball, it is your turn.
Okay. Well, Gumball is going to. He is going to. He's going to thrust his meat at the troll,
What?
trying to knock it unconscious.
Okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm with you though.
So he got a 22, and he says, "I'm gonna cream your ice, troll." And he's dealing 10 points of meat damage. And then he's going to reach into his sack again, and he's going to pull out a book. And the book is called Bad Jokes, and it vaguely smells of the bathroom. And he's going to action surge, and he's going to try and hit the troll again. But he also used a superiority die to try and disarm the troll. So that's okay. Oh, that's pretty good. So 8 points of damage, and the troll needs to make a DC 13 strength save, or it's disarmed.
It's not armed with anything.
Okay. But that was, just for the record, that was like 17 points of meat damage.
Yeah.
Yay!
And
Good
then
job.
he's going to slap the troll with the book on his action surge. And that is going to miss, but he's going to try and use a precision attack. Oh, you know what? Yeah, precision attack. So, 12. Oh, that's a great time to roll an 8. 17.
It's a hit.
The hit. Great. And then he's going to try and disarm the troll again. Slapping it in the face with a slightly discolored and smelly book.
Amazing.
Oh, God. So good. For... that's 18 points of
Book
toilet
damage?
book damage. Yep.
Somewhere.
And with a bonus action,
Wow.
the legend that is Gumball Johnson is going to attempt to grapple the troll.
Gumball Johnson's just a pro wrestler, isn't he?
14 athletics.
I rolled a 4.
Oh
I
my
got an 8
God!
total, and it's
Gumball
however,
Johnson.
I need you, because as you're grappling it, this is when this will take effect. You take 16 points of cold damage from its cold aura.
Okay.
So as you wrap your arms around it, what happens?
Oh. Well, he falls unconscious.
Oh no.
He wraps his arms around the troll, and he says, Gumball Johnson. And then he falls to the ground unconscious.
Nilos, you're dead. You will continue to be dead. Devyn, Nilos and Gumball have gone down. Nilos is very much dead. And Sigi's taken a slash from this thing.
Wow.
But got a shot in. What are
Yeah.
you doing?
I think Devyn would just kind of panic. And she would shoot at it too with her bow.
Okay. Oh, also,
Um,
you're going to take 10 points of cold damage
Oh my God.
because you're within 10 feet of it.
Jesus. Okay. So I'm gonna, go ahead and try to hit it. Here I go. Nat 1.
Oh no, that means it gets a free opportunity attack against you.
Yeah. I know.
But you're out of range. You can't reach 10 feet.
Ah!
So you got lucky.
Very lucky.
Anything else?
And I guess I wanna. Can I cast Hunter's Mark as a bonus action or no?
Yeah.
I would like to cast Hunter's Mark.
Okay.
Just in case I get another turn. Doubtful, but it might happen.
Sios.
Sios, he shoulder rolls outside the range of the creature, and he casts hex on it.
Okay.
And then I believe I get a invisibility, like a second action after that, right? Oh, wait, no, that's that.
So the hex. I'm looking at the wrong character.
It does necrotic damage, but it does after I hit it. So.
Does it say? What does it say? Is hex an action or a bonus action?
Casting time is one bonus action.
So yeah, you hex it, then you can take your action. Yes.
Okay. And then for his second action, is my second action is a dual wielding double hit, or is it?
No, you've already. So the dual wield. Let me just double check your feat here, but I believe.
It's fine.
No, because
So
because to make the second attack, you have to have a bonus action, which you use to cast hex.
Sure. So he's going to use his second action to cast Mirror Image, which creates a duplicate of 3 versions of him that all look the
You
same.
cast hex, so you can't cast mirror image.
I can't cast no spell. Oh, okay.
You can only cast
one spell at a time.
one full spell. You yeah.
But what I can do for free is Mage Armor.
Mage armor. Yeah, because that's an invocation.
Yeah.
So that gives you 15 AC.
Yeah. He's going to throw that up around himself and going to yell out to Devyn, get back and get some range. Close, child. You don't want to die up here.
Oh shit. Well, Devyn is already crying and most definitely will die.
Oh, Theo.
But he
Yes.
nods.
You are going to take 8 points of cold damage.
Mm.
Sigmund is up next. Sigmund also takes damage at the start of his turn. You see Sigmund take his bow and is already looking like he wants to say something reassuring or smartass to you, Devyn. And you see him start to pull back on the bow. And you hear that sound of the bow tightening, but you also hear the sound of something quick freezing.
Oh.
And he relaxes it, and he crumples to the ground unconscious.
Oh no.
He had 8 hit points left, and he just took 10 points of cold damage.
Oh my god. No! For the record, anybody watching at home, this is the shortest backstory I've ever written, and I am very glad I did not invest a ton of time.
It is the Ice Troll's turn, and it is Nilos is dead. So 1, 2. Devyn. The Ice Troll
Okay.
comes over towards you, and as it steps closer to you, you feel. Oh wait, that would be at the start of your turn, so ignore that. You feel the cold emanating off of it, though. This extra cold, and it comes forward, and it raises its claws, and you hear this sharp whistle piercing through the woods, and the troll stops.
Can I do one thing real quick just for flavor?
Yeah.
As the thing is approaching, Devyn would take a step over Siggy's slumped body and just like stand there between him and the frickin' troll. Ugh.
As you do that, the troll looks like it wants. You see it continue to raise back like it's going to make the attack, and then you hear that sharp whistle again. And then you hear a voice that says, "We need some of them alive."
Oh,
Take those two. The rest of you, come with me. He's talking to you, Zios and Devyn, as the troll turns and with one hand each reaches down and picks up the unconscious Gumball and the unconscious Sigi, and basically just kind of picks them up by the scruff and sort of drags them through the snow. You see a humanoid shape, roughly 6.5 or so feet tall, wearing heavy cloak and furs, and a heavy bow strung over its back, over his back, and you can see that there is a sword sheath on his back as well.
Ooh.
Come with me now.
Zeos relaxes, looks over at Devyn, and he says, "Death did not come for us today, but the void eternally waits."
I
And
don't
he-
know what that means. Should we go or not?
Yeah, we should go.
Gumball, make a death saving throw. This is the worst music all of a sudden.
10.
All right, so that's a success. The two of you follow behind, leaving the body of Nilos frozen and freezing in the snow, as this troll carries the figures of Gumball and Sigi. And it's not very much further, and you emerge from the woods and you see that there is a cabin just at the edge of the woods. And there's area cleared around the cabin. It seems to be a fairly modest cabin. You can see that there's sawdust and splinters of wood out front. There is a heavy axe where it looks like this man may have been chopping wood recently. The snow is all trampled down around here. You also see that there's thick smoke curling out of the chimney, and you can see a warm glow coming from inside. The man gives a couple sharp whistles, and the bodies of Sigi and Gumball are set just outside the door. Make another death saving throw, Gumball.
Natural 1.
That's 2
I
failures.
would like to re-roll that. Yeah, I'll re-roll it.
Sure.
Well, 2.
Okay. It's only 1 fail instead of 2.
Mm-hmm.
So the man whistles sharply again, and the troll starts to move away. And he says, with a sharp whistle, he then says, "Around back. Deal. Tend to Whiskers." And the troll slumps off behind the cottage as the man comes forward, and the door, he pushes open the door, and he looks at you, Zios and Devyn, and he says, "Grab that one and bring him in," as he picks up and drags Gumball into the cottage.
I kind of look at Zeos. I'm very, very weak. But I just kind of like, I nod, and I assume we kind of together drag Sigi into the cabin.
Yeah. Definitely. I help along with dragging Ziggy into the cabin.
It is very warm in here. Like, comfortably warm, cozy even. You smell some kind of, it almost smells like some kind of hot cider in the air. It could be like an apple tea or, something like that. There's definitely an apple sort of scent to it. And you smell herbs and things like that. You can see where there's herbs and things are hanging. And there's a woman in here as well, near a table, on the other side of a table by the fire. She's stirring this pot, and she turns, and this woman looks to be, she's got very pale hair, not kind of a dirty blonde. She looks like she's maybe in her early 20s. And as she's stirring this pot, she turns. Oh, I wasn't sure if we would have guests tonight. Please, have a seat.
Devyn kind of is too scared to do anything else. She would sit down and just sort of look kind of nervously between this woman and Zeos.
It's okay, child. If they wanted us dead, they would have killed us on the mountain. And he sits down next,
Gumball, make a death saving throw.
Oh, live, Gumball. Live! No, Gary. No, stop it!
I can't see it.
What is it? It's the sheen. Is it a 20?
The natural 20.
Oh!
Gumball begins to stir in the warmth of the cabin. Gumball, you are conscious and at 1 hit point, I believe.
Yay, Gumball Johnson!
And you hear the sound of this woman's voice as you begin to stir. Oh good, your friend is doing well. We will tend to your other friend. Here, drink this. And she sets a mug down, and it smells very similar to Jalanthar Amber served at the Cockatrice. It's a very heady, some kind of hot cider. And places a mug before you and you, Zios, and a couple more mugs for Sigi and Gumball.
I drink.
I take a drink too.
Me too.
Okay, I would like you all to make Constitution saving throws, please.
Nine.
Oh, what now? That is a 21.
Okay.
Ooh, I'm gonna re-roll that nat one.
Oh my god, guys, I will have you remember that Tira is in a pinch, and we might need some tomes for next session.
All right.
Look at them not
19 on the
caring
re-roll.
at all. So you're re-rolling that, Zios?
Yeah, I rolled a 19 on the re-roll.
Congratulations!
Yeah.
So that would put
I'm
you...
happy you're alive.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. I want to keep this temporary character alive.
And what did you get? You got a 21?
Got a 21.
Gumball.
I'm totally fine.
You watch as Gumball takes a drink, and this is a strong drink, but there's a bitterness to it. Something's off about it. And you feel an achiness and a stiffness in your joints. And you look over at Gumball as Gumball takes this drink. You know, all you see are Gumball's eyes moving. Gumball, you are paralyzed.
Okay.
Oh. I'm terribly disappointed. The cider should have paralyzed both of you as well. You hear the sound of a sword being drawn from a sheath as the large man pulls a greatsword from off of his back. She looks at you. This could have been simple. They didn't have to send all of you. One of you would have been enough. The four of you will have to do. Zios and Devyn, how are you reacting to this?
I'm looking at Zios, and what was the name of the one that came before us and like has been gone for 2 weeks?
No name was given. He was a far traveler from the Cold Vale.
Okay.
I would say, Devyn, the three of you actually would probably know that you've seen this man, because this isn't his first time. He comes every year through the village, and he spends time, he's a merchant ranger, and he spends time doing a lot of fur trapping and hunting in the woods and then selling stuff to the town. So you would all have some experience with this individual.
So
you haven't seen this man's face yet because he's had a hood pulled up. But
Zios.
Go ahead.
What? No, I'll wait for you to finish.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Zios is going to put his hand upon Devyn, and he's going to cast invisibility, and he's going to whisper, "Run, child."
What level is that spell?
1 million.
So suck it.
I don't know. That's
Level 2.
yeah, level 2. I guess that's what it'll be.
The woman makes a gesture, and your invisibility doesn't take hold as she counterspells it. There is a saying that I've heard: resistance is futile. What is going to happen here is fated by the fact that you are here, and there's really nothing you can do about it.
I look over my shoulder at this guy with the sword, and then I look back at her, and I look at Zios, and I see what he tried to do, and it's all like
as you look at
closing in.
As you look at him, you see a flash of firelight reflected on the blade as he brings it down on Gumball's neck.
Oh,
because you are
God.
paralyzed, that is a critical hit,
Mm-hmm.
which will knock you unconscious again. As the sword just severs into Gumball in a spray of blood. Try not to get. You hear. Try not to get blood on the baby, Dirkhead. And you notice as she says that there is a cradle off to the side. And there is something or someone in the cradle. I need Zios and Devyn to make wisdom saving throws.
Okay. 12.
13.
That is too low for
Wrong game.
That is too low for the saving throw, or the DC, as you are both held by a 3rd level hold person. You feel yourself locked up. Hold person paralyzes
I forget the
you.
rules. Can we talk or no?
I don't believe so because you're paralyzed.
Okay.
Let me just double check.
Oh shit.
So hold person. You're incapacitated, you can't move, and you can't speak. You automatically fail strength and dex saves. Attacks against you have advantage, and any attack that hits you is a critical hit. If it's within 5 feet. You are both paralyzed. As the woman holds her hand out, and that's when you feel as if you're suddenly frozen. You hear her speaking. I only needed one, but the 4 of you will allow me to stave off winter for a good many years, 10, maybe even 12 years. And you watch, Devyn, as this giant of a man brings this greatsword down on Zios.
Oh, God.
And the woman walks over to the side of the room where the cradle is and says,
God.
just remember, you are helping those that come after. And then she looks down in the cradle and says, please, do not remember anything that you see here today, little Tira. And the sword comes down on you, Devyn. As a postscript, as the bodies are being arranged around this cabin, and in a very specific arrangement, they're arranged in a way with candles and other things around, and in the blood there are symbols drawn on the floor as this woman is making final preparations. The man takes the great sword and cleans the blood off of it, and he steps over to the woman and he says, This'll work? Yes, my love. We will be able to have a normal life after this. But the people of the town won't forget. I will take care of it. I will be back as quickly as I can, but it may take me a few weeks. I know back in the Cold Vale, there are a tribe of orcs led by a woman named Vernushka.
Oh.
I can get her to attack the village. Decimate but not kill. They'll probably relocate. And whoever's left will do everything they can to forget what happened here. I will see to it. Melina, my love. And he embraces her. And the last thing we see is Dirkhead pulling the hood over his head as he heads outside of the cabin. He whistles, and the ice troll turns to follow. And from inside the cabin, we see the glow begin to emanate ever brighter as we hear chanting and otherworldly sounds coming from within, as the Witch of Winter, also known as Melina Frostheart, is casting her spell. And that is where we are going to end this interlude.
Oh, I am gonna throw up.
Wow.
So,
You monster.
That was a
Wow.
hyper concentrated 10 minutes. Wow.
Well done.
now, I'm not foolish enough to think that I pulled the wool over anybody or everybody's eyes, but
I have no idea.
this interlude, I will say this is something I have been sitting on for literally months. And honestly, the only thing that put it into motion now was because, Cari, you had to leave for 3 weeks, and we had to figure out where you were. So this one shot, for those confused why everything's frozen and they're all playing these different characters, this one shot will serve as a bridge to next week's regular Candlekeep session, as we are going to see where Tira has been all this time. So actually, I want to do this because I don't get to do this very often at all. Make sure you're all marked dead on the overlay there.
Yeah. I'm speechless. I have no speech. Oh my god.
I had to kind of fast track it a little bit near the end there because I saw where we were on time, and I want to stay true to honoring everyone's time.
I wonder what percentage of the session was Gumball Johnson saying his own name. I would bet 7.
Somebody who's better at math than me can go and figure that out.
Approximately. Wow.
Gumball.
So so this was thank you for being our sacrificial first early death, with I really like these characters and I would love to see more, and I felt so bad when you're all like, well, Cari, you're the only one that actually wrote a piece of like backstory that was more than a couple sentences, but true, you were right. It is definitely the shortest backstory you've ever written.
It was a paragraph. It was very short.
I'm like, man, if Cari writes me a full backstory for this, I'm gonna feel so bad when I kill.
But you can't tell me not to, because then the joke is out.
No, I can't, because I held off on telling you some things. I will tell you this. There are some things, and I can give you the pieces of information if you want, but in the opening narration, I fleshed out some of the information. I used I did some research for this to figure out the actual region, because we've only ever said that Tira was from an unnamed town in the south of Silvery Moon. I researched the Silver Marches, and everything that is mentioned in the opening narration, those are real places. And we now know that Tira originates from the Rovine Vale. We also know, if you were paying attention, where certain orc tribes originate, north of that region in the Cold Vale. So, I had a lot of fun prepping this, and I hope you guys enjoyed what was basically you being led to the slaughter.
As soon as you... oh my god. Wow, that was impressive.
It was highly unlikely, though still slightly possible, that one or more of you could have survived.
If I would have had other action, I could have survived it. I needed one more turn, but
I was surprised at how readily you all just drank the cider.
Listen, Devyn's freezing to death. Hot cider looks pretty
That was the
good.
plan, was to try to entice you with the warmth of the place, and
plus this woman is very kind and friendly, you know, like a mother.
Yeah, very motherly.
Yeah. God.
Boy, does this change the original interlude with Tira, though. The tone of that is very different now.
There was a time you told me to roll, and I was like, I'm sorry, what? Because I was going back through it in my head, thinking like, oh no, like thing after thing after thing. Phenomenal.
So, I enjoyed this. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. And we're going to throw a raid over to our friend Tildaloo here in a moment as we get out of here. So be sure to greet Tildaloo with some warm MTD greetings. Yeah, be sure to tune in next week at 8 p.m. when we pick up with our full crew, hopefully, but definitely with Cari back. As we go for, I believe, will be episode 52 of the Candlekeep mystery. So again, thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. Thank you for those who supported with your subscriptions and your bits and all that good stuff, even if it was mostly the players around the table. You apparently needed them because you went through them. And I want to say a special thank you, as always, to these amazing players. I always love when I get to sit around the virtual table with all of you. So thank you, Gary, Cari, M, Ricky, and even though he's not here, he was here and he's still with us in spirit, Dwight, without whom it would be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and we are going to end this stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want.
Gumball.